Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was diesel fuel prices. They have been, they were coming down. I mean, let's see, I'm looking at the Midwest. Okay, so August of 23, diesel fuel was $4.30 a gallon. Then in September, it climbed up to 4.43, October 4.42, November 4.24. Then in December, it dropped down to $3.88, $3.88.2 per gallon. And in the beginning of January, it was 371. Now I know that when I went out to there was a couple places in Illinois that was selling diesel fuel for about 365, 359 in that area. But I noticed that right now it's gone back up and it's like 420 or 430. And we're talking Midwest, so I'm just talking about Illinois because I only run Illinois and Iowa. So I know that Iowa, when I was there yesterday, when you cross over from Illinois into the Iowa line, there's where the Iowa 80 truck stop is, and they're charging 414 a gallon, okay? Which is about the same as Illinois is, but you're in Iowa. And here's the part that I don't get. If you go to the 265 mile marker, where I buy my fuel, the fuel yesterday was, or Monday, yeah, it was 359. So from the border to the 265 mile marker, it drops 40 cents a gallon. That doesn't make sense to me in the same state. So it's not like, so why is that? Because there's a big truck stop there that they want to hoard your diesel fuel. That's why it's important that you check when you're going to go someplace, check and find the best places to buy fuel. Don't just drive until you need fuel and then stop at the big truck stop and get $4.50 a gallon of diesel fuel. It doesn't make sense to do that. So you need to prepare your routes. You can get all the data. I use myself. I use Trucker's Path, because on Trucker's Path you can get the diesel fuel for your entire route, and you can get the mile markers and the name of the stations and all that stuff, and you can set up your whole thing. And once you get your routine done, because most of us we do the same stuff. I run the Cedar Rapids, Iowa, almost all the time. So, I mean, I know the route. So I know where to stop. I stop at the 265, which is a 1.9, which is actually a pilot. So that's where I get my fuel. And their oil is cheaper there, antifreeze, and anything. And they sell some food there and stuff like that. It is a small place, but they got about eight or nine pumps. So, I mean, and they pump pretty fast, so that's not an issue. So, if you're going to do anything, make sure that you plan your routes and plan your diesel fuel. Because we're not talking about a little bit of money. We're talking about huge. I buy 100 gallons at a time, so it's easy for me to calculate my cost. So, if I buy 100 gallons of fuel and it's $4.15 a gallon, that's $415. Easy. And that's what I spend a day if I'm running every day going to Cedar Rapids. I use close to 100 gallons a day. That's round trip. So $415. So if I rolled it back to early January, where the chart is saying it was 371, we'll just say 372, that's $372 versus $415. I mean, that's almost $50, and that's per day. So that's $250 for the week difference from the beginning of January and now. That's huge. So plan your routes, and you really, really need to be frugal on the cost of diesel. You need to make sure that the prices that you're paying is the cheapest. And don't always go, okay, if I go to Pilot, the pump says 415, but I get a 25% discount, or I get some money out, and I get my kickback to where I can buy stuff for points. I get that. So a $50 per day difference is huge. And then there's another thing. Okay, now here's going to be the comparisons to save some money. If I drive at 62 miles per hour, I basically get 67 miles per gallon. If the fuel costs $4.16, well, $4.15.9, which is $4.16. So if I run at 62 miles per hour, I get 6.7 miles per gallon. So a trip to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, according to Siri, and I know she wouldn't lie to me, is 489 miles round trip. So based on this, which is 67 miles per gallon, divided into how many miles, says I need 72.99, so 73 gallons of diesel fuel. 73 gallons of diesel fuel at this price brings a total cost to $303.54, to be honest. So, which sounds about right. Now, the miles vary because of the fact that Siri says from point A to point B is 489 divided by 2. But sometimes you go into a rest area, or you might go into a truck stop to get fuel, or to get coffee, or to stop at a restaurant that you like stopping at to see your girlfriend. I'm just kidding about the girlfriend. Don't tell my wife I said that. Anyway, so the miles will vary. So this is just a general to show you some cost analysis. So now if I run my truck at 70, you can see that gallons per hour changes. So 70 miles per hour, my truck only gets 5.3. There's a curve. There's a curve on all engines at a certain speed that you'll get maximum miles per gallon. And then as you fall out, you go faster, or if you go slower, that changes. So at 70, I get 5.3 roughly. So you can see gallons per hour is increasing because of the fact that it's using more fuel per hour to maintain that speed. So the fuel constant is the same, $4.16 a gallon. But here's where it starts changing, cost per hour. So at 62, my cost is $38.49. $38.49 per hour. But look at the curve at 70. It's $54, almost $55 per hour. So to do that $439, 489 miles is roughly 10 hours of driving. So it's going to say that, so it's going to use almost, if you look at this, it's almost 20 gallons difference. So it's 20 gallons times this difference. 20 times this comes to that difference. $80 a day difference. A day, bro. 5 days a week. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But right now, so the difference on my truck from 62 gives me this cost. But if I'm in a hurry and I'm going to drive like an idiot, because the speed limit's 70, I can do it, but it's going to cost me $80 more. Now down here, this is a price difference based on Trump years when he was first in office and fuel did drop down. It dropped down to about $1.89. So I'm just showing you the difference only to be, not to boost Trump, but just to kind of show you the cost from 2016 to 2024. Same mileage, same speeds, same miles per gallon, same usage, same half almost. So for 489 miles, it took 72 point. It's the same amount of fuel, but the cost is way different. $138 for the round trip. And if I ran at 70, it would be $175 round trip in fuel. So I would have paid, by running 70, it was still $36 more. Biden fuel, $303 at 62. Trump fuel at 62 miles an hour was $138. Hey, that's huge. So now I'm going to show you so I know some of you are saying, that's $80 a day. I'd rather get there a little quicker. I'm going to show you what I'm going to tell your wife. Okay? So hold on one second. We're going to switch to, I'm snitching on the wife window. Okay, here we are. I'm going to show you what this is. Now, these numbers, this is not the rate, but this is a rate. It's a ballpark rate to give you an idea, just a rough idea, what that difference means to you and to your wife. So if my load that goes to Cedar Rapids pays $1,000, I'm going to pay that $303.54. I'm just going to round it at $303 for diesel fuel. So $303 minus from 1,000 leaves you $696 per day revenue. That's at 62 miles an hour. So if I did 5 loads a week at $1,000, it's 5,000 gross. After fuel, that's what this is. After fuel, I would make this much. But then, of course, this is the net, but this is gross net. Because out of here, my company's going to take their 25% or whatever your percentage is. So I'm not even putting that in here because it's irrelevant of what I want to show you. So 62 miles an hour, doing 5 loads a week to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'm going to get a check for a lousy $3,482 after fuel. This is after fuel. Fuel's paid. So now if I speed up to 70 miles an hour, because I want to get home a little quicker to see my honey. We got to get home to see that honey to do whatever. But anyway, but look at the cost now. At 70 miles an hour, my diesel fuel was $384 basically. So $384 from 1,000 leaves me $616. $616. That's an $80 a day difference, like I said before. $5,000 for 5 days going to Cedar Rapids. But look at my revenue now at the end of the week. It's $3,000. It's $3,081.37. This is after fuel. Some say, bro, that ain't bad. $3,000 a week. Yep. Now out of that, I got to pay the driver. I got to deduct maintenance, fuel, not fuel, but maintenance and license plate and it's a $400 difference because I wanted to get home and see my honey. $400 a week to see my honey. Remember that. She's a fine woman. She cooks for me and does my clothes, and I want to see my baby. Okay. $400 a week. Roll over to this one here. Hey, honey, Because I wanted to come home and see you, I paid almost $21,000 because I wanted to drive at 70 miles an hour and only take home 160,000 versus taking home 181,000. Babe, you're worth every bit of it. So because I drive at 70, I'm going to lose $20,000 for a year. That's saying I'm doing 5 loads a week to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and not 6. I'm doing 5. I'm driving at 70 miles an hour because I'm going to see my baby. So she's costing me $400 a week to get home and to see her. $20,000 a year. Not bad, huh? Now this is the second part of everything. So, but the first part that makes this really change, I'm gonna show you that. This is so there's 2 parts. The first part is this. The second part is speed. And you see the results. 62, 70. At 70, it cost me $80 a day more in fuel. And that's $20,000 a year to drive 70. Read my lips. 20,000, almost 21,000. But here's back to the first part, is this. So what I do, and I recommend do, I run the same route all the time, just about. So I know where to buy fuel. For me, I'm based out of Illinois, so I know that fuel in Illinois is going to cost me that $4.16. But if I go to the exit 265 in Iowa, this is what's going to change. $3.59.9 is what I pay for fuel in Iowa. Now look what that did over here on the final. It's dropped from 21,000 to 18,000, which means that if I drive at 62, it's increased my revenue to 191,000 versus 181,000. You see what I'm saying? 359.9, 191,000. But over here, remember, it was 303. It's 262 at 62 miles an hour because the fuel cost is cheaper. So you got 2 things to look for. Oh, 2 things. 1, this. Don't go to Pilot and buy Pilot fuel and pay $4.20 a gallon or $4.16 a gallon when there's a place in your route that you can do this. How I fixed this was easy. I put 50 gallons of fuel in at this. I put in 50 gallons of fuel at this price. I drove to my customer. I got loaded. I stopped at the 265 mile marker, and I bought my fuel for this. I put 100 gallons of fuel in my tank. So today, my fuel is going to be expensive because I bought 50 gallons of fuel at $4.16, and then I bought another 100 gallons at $3.59.9. So now what I got is I have enough fuel to go back to Chicago, do my thing, and come back out to Cedar Rapids area or the 265 mile marker and buy my 100 gallons of fuel again. So now I brought my cost from 303 down to 262 a day. I'm saving because of 62 miles an hour, and I'm saving because I'm buying my fuel at the 265 mile marker in Iowa. It's affecting my bottom line. This. screw this. Why pay that? Why give this $18,000 away? Or if I just screw that, I'm going to buy fuel at Pilot, and this goes to only taking in 181,000 versus what I would have had, and my fuel cost is back to $303 a day. So think about that. I mean, these are real numbers. I mean, they're roughly numbers that you should be looking at. One, where do you buy your fuel? And two, how fast you drive your truck. I get passed all the time when I'm at 62, but I put the cruise on 62 and I listen to my music. I listen to different stuff, talk to my wife. I mean, talk to your wife. I mean, I just entertain myself while I'm driving. And after a while, the 62 miles an hour ain't that bad, because there's some drivers that are only driving 65. Do I get past? Yeah. Does it bother me? At first, it used to. And I say, screw that, I'm going to 70. But then this occurs. This occurs. The payout of that occurs. What's more important? That $21,000 will buy my wife some nice shoes or a nice damn purse. You know how they are. So think about what I'm saying. Two savings. One, 62 miles an hour. And the second one is where you're buying your fuel at. Don't get screwed. All this stuff means a lot. It means a lot to the dollar amount at the end of the day. And it means a lot of extra money in your pocket. This will buy me a rebuilt engine. And as your truck wears out, you blow tires. This is extra money you would not have if you drive at 70. Drive at 70, you pay that. $80 more. So $88 a day is $400 a week. Well, 8 times 5. Think about it. So I hope that these numbers help you. I hope it gives you a better picture. And I hope that this makes sense. I mean, this is just a small way to increase your profit. That's what we're here for. We're not here to give this away. Because the only person that's going to get this $20,000 is the fuel stations. And this guy. But anyway. I hope that I'm helping you, and I hope it makes sense. Peace. Try and be safe. And I'll be looking at other stuff to help you save some money. God bless. I'll see you later. And the one thing that I didn't tell you is don't forget, if you have any comments, leave the comments below. Hit that like button if you like it. I mean, I'm trying to help you. I'm not making money on this. So just hit the like button, and so that my video comes up so other guys can probably see it. And subscribe to my channel. I would love to have more subscribers. Maybe one day I can shave. I can buy a razor or something. You know what I mean? Help a brother out. So subscribe. We'll see you.